Henderson County residents come together to petition a popular chicken farm.
How COVID-19 is impacting the United States.
Today marks the 15th anniversary of Katrina's destruction.
And scattered storms are possible not only tonight but through the weekend. Meteorologist Corrales Ortiz has the forecast.
Now from West Tennessee's News Channel, this is 7 Eyewitness News at 6.
We begin tonight at 6 with residents of Henderson County making their voices heard by demonstrating against an incoming business. Good evening, I'm Terry Jones.
And I'm Stephanie Fernandez. WBBJ 7 Eyewitness News reporter Diamond Williams attended the protest that demanded a stop to a mega chicken farm.
Several residents of Henderson County gathered together at Westover School Saturday morning to peacefully protest the Tyson Foods mega chicken farms being built around the area.
We have to make sure, Tyson, that we will not go quietly into the night. We will not bend over. We will stand, and we will be fighting.
Many residents stressed their concern for the farms being built, saying it could cause property value to go down, along with creating health issues and making it an unsafe environment for children.
I'm fighting for my kids. I don't want them to be able to play in their driveway. We live in country roads. They ride bicycles down the road. You've got an 18-wheeler coming at 55 miles an hour. How many of our children are fixing to be killed?
Residents say they will have to get used to a new normal of not being able to enjoy the country living they moved to Henderson County for from the start.
I put in a pool 2 years ago. I'm not even going to be able to sit out with my children and enjoy our pool because of the air quality and the smell. My husband and I spend every night sitting on our screened-in porch just enjoying the sounds outside, the peacefulness. And we're not going to be able to do that anymore.
Henderson County Mayor Eddie Bray says he was not notified about Tyson's plan to move forward with the plan to build factories in the county until a week before this protest. He says when someone buys a piece of land, the identity of the buyer is unknown. Communications manager for Tyson, Morgan Watchhouse, reached out to us saying they work good to be a community partner and are working closely with contract poultry farmers to ensure compliance and require contract farmers to follow state, federal, and local law. In Henderson County, Diamond Williams, WBBJ 7 Eyewitness News.
Residents say the area is too populated for a farm that size and would much rather see it built in another part of West Tennessee.
According to the Tennessee Department of Health, in West Tennessee, Madison County has 32 new cases of COVID-19 with a total of 43 deaths. Gibson County, 21 new cases, 14 total deaths. Carroll County, 15 new cases, 8 total deaths. Chester County has 6 new cases with a total of 5 deaths. Crockett County, 10 new cases, 14 total deaths. Hardin County, 18 new cases, 10 total deaths. And Henderson County has 33 new cases, 7 total deaths. For a full list of cases by county, look for this story on our website under the COVID-19 tab.
Leaders with the Madison County Mayor's Office say they will be upgrading the phone system today starting at 8 p.m. The upgrade is expected to take up to 6 hours to complete. As a result, no phone service will be available to any of the county offices during that time. If you need non-emergency assistance from the Sheriff's Department, call 423-6098. In case of an emergency, call 911.
Across the state, Tennessee Governor Bill Lee has signed an executive order today extending Tennessee's state of emergency. In part, the executive order extends the mask mandate to 89 counties across the state through September 30th. Meanwhile, local leaders also signed an executive order for the mask mandate to be extended in Jackson and Madison County to September 12th at 11:59 p.m. For more on the executive order, go to our website, WBBJTV.com.
And a happy Saturday to everybody, or at least I hope it's been happy. And if it hasn't been happy, well, there are two things it's definitely been today: hot and humid. As you can probably tell if you stepped outside, you can feel that really moist tropical air, maybe a few building clouds in the distance, because some areas have been dealing with some scattered showers and storms in their location really. But for now, as we go further into tonight, it's kind of starting to taper off a little bit. So here's a look at that Storm Tracker 7 Max radar. We did have a few, especially over in our northern counties. There is a cold front kind of stalled to our north around the Tennessee and the Kentucky border. So areas like over in parts of Henry County and into Benton, we did have a really brief thunderstorm passing on through that's kind of already started to dissipate. So most areas right now across West Tennessee are a little bit on the quiet side, and the chance for that is on the low side, but will be increasing as we go into the late hours and into tomorrow especially. So expect a mild night. Temperatures will hover around the lower 70s, partly cloudy to mostly cloudy and calm winds with a chance for rain kind of remaining steady. The chance for seeing something scattered is there, will be increasing by the time we get towards tomorrow afternoon, with really an unsettled weather pattern for the next several days going into early next week. So this first look is brought to you by Beal Law Firm in Lexington. We do have the chance for some storms possible and showers likely for really much throughout the whole day tomorrow, which I'll talk a little bit more about that coming up in just a few minutes. Terry and Stephanie, back to you.
Thank you, Corrales. The Hub City experienced minor flooding in the wake of Tropical Depression Laura. Heavy rain and strong winds caused hazardous conditions on the roadways. It started shortly after 8 Friday morning when the first major band from Tropical Depression Laura made its way across Jackson. Within an hour, an inch of rain fell, causing minor flooding across the Hub City. Some of the areas most affected included Van Drive in North Jackson and the Bemis area in South Jackson. A small break in the rain around 9 a.m. helped lessen the impacts of flooding as city workers checked the drainage systems and cleared them of debris. Saturday marks 15 years since Hurricane Katrina, one of the worst natural disasters in American history. On August 29, 2005, the Category 3 hurricane devastated the Gulf Coast. Hurricane Katrina caused catastrophic flooding when levees failed around New Orleans. More than 1,800 people died, 1 million people were displaced in the Gulf Coast, and 15 years later, nonprofit organizations are still helping to rebuild New Orleans.
Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards spent Friday surveying damage from Hurricane Laura across the state. The governor has asked for all categories of FEMA assistance for 23 parishes directly in the path of Hurricane Laura. Louisiana is asking for both public or governmental assistance as well as personal assistance for tens of thousands of residents. Friday morning, the power was still out for more than 543,000 people. More than 209,000 Louisiana residents lost access to running water because of storm damage. After inspecting the damage statewide, the governor says it's possible even more assistance may be needed.
I'm expecting they're going to turn that around pretty fast. That will enable us to get even more assistance. And then we can start looking for those parishes that might qualify for public assistance or individual assistance.
Lake Charles Memorial Hospital was forced to evacuate all of its patients because it lost power and water. Governor Edwards is equally concerned about the impact of the hurricane on the pandemic. He renewed his mask order this week over concerns the coronavirus might spread as residents evacuate.
There's another stark warning about the battle against the coronavirus.
It comes as the country edges closer to having at least 6 million COVID-19 infections. Michael George reports.
Criticism of the Centers for Disease Control heightened this week after the agency indicated testing people without COVID-19 symptoms was not needed, even people in contact with the virus.
If we stop testing contacts, we lose information about what's going on in our own community.
Dr. Tom Inglesby of the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security is among those critical of the CDC.
We know that something on the order of 40 to 50% of people with this disease in the United States don't have symptoms.
Testing data has guided policymakers for months.
6 months. So we're getting used to living in it.
San Francisco's mayor, first to lock down a major city, is only now cautiously opening nail salons and gyms for outdoor business only.
Now it's time for us to make some levels of transition.
San Francisco's strict rules included mandatory masks, and cases and deaths have been relatively low. And in Ohio, new data shows a dramatic drop in cases since July 23rd, when the state mandated masks.
All individuals should sit 6 feet from other people.
Even Alabama, a state slow to act, is telling fans to put masks on at high school football games, and the governor wants them to keep them on.
We should not be deceived that being vigilant against COVID-19 during the day ends when the football game begins.
In addition to CDC cutbacks, the coronavirus has hit government budgets. New York, facing a $1 billion shortfall, may have to cut even emergency workers.
I don't want to see this happen. I have told all New Yorkers that we're getting to a point where we're starting to run out of options.
New York's EMTs already stretched to the limit, including the ones here at this station. But the city says if they don't get some federal aid fast, they may have to cut hundreds of first responders in the next few weeks.
The Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation at the University of Washington warns the U.S. death toll could top 317,000 by December 1st if social mandates are eased.
Coming up, a celebrity dies after losing his battle to cancer.
And if you enjoy video games, there is a Netflix documentary that gives the history of gaming. That and more news to come. In some sad entertainment news, actor Chadwick Boseman, who helped bring the blockbuster Marvel movie Black Panther to life, has died. The 2016 Boseman was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. Boseman battled colon cancer for 4 years and died at home with his family and wife by his side. Boseman played the role of T'Challa in 4 movies, all while battling a major illness. It eventually progressed to stage 4. Remarkably, he continued filming, starring in several other movies, including Spike Lee's The Five Bloods. The new Netflix docuseries looks at the early history of video games. Rick DeMagella reports.
There's a lot of different ways to look at what a video game is.
High Score is a new Netflix documentary series looking back at the history of video games.
We were pioneering a new medium. We're taking the TV, which has been a traditionally passive medium, and turning it into an active medium. That's a huge thing to do.
Howard Scott Warshaw was the Atari game developer behind the Yar's Revenge and Raiders of the Lost Ark games, but
it wouldn't be fair to not discuss that I made the worst game of all time.
I only had 5 weeks to do this game, right? When most games take up to 6 months or more, I was given 5 weeks to do the game. Not many people are so good that they can just take their initial concept and poof, that's going to be the winner and nobody needs to change it or edit it. And I was kind of put in that position. Actually, I volunteered for this mission. And, the worst game of all time was born.
Warshaw's tale of creating the ET game is just one among several told in the High Score series. Leveling up in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Well, some storms and widespread showers are in the forecast for tomorrow, but an active weather pattern is likely really into next week, with chances of rain pretty much every day. The full forecast is next.
Now, Storm Team weather with meteorologist Corrales Ortiz.
Well, some parts across West Tennessee have been dealing with some hit or miss showers. Well, as we go into tonight, that chance really does start to diminish, but then slowly start to increase as we get into the late overnight hours into early Sunday with some widespread showers and storms in the forecast. So today really felt humid. We had really moist tropical air, probably the most humid we've probably been in quite some time, at least for the season. Right now the humidity is sitting at 65. We have dew points sitting in the mid 70s as high as upper 70s, very close to 80. So it's definitely been feeling a little bit uncomfortable with light winds out of the west northwest, increased cloud cover. And right now temperatures are sitting around the upper 80s for us. We were around 89 degrees for our high, which is pretty much on track where we should be for this time of year. Although our low starting off during the day, because again of all that moisture, maybe some of that cloud cover and the warmth kind of just stayed around the lower 70s and where we should normally be sitting in the mid 60s. So it has been a little bit more mild than normal. But look at those dew points across the map. As I mentioned, anywhere from mid to upper 70s. This is definitely the most humid we've been pretty much all season. So if you can look at that scale, excessive definitely explains how it felt outside today, along with the warmth. And that actually made it feel a lot hotter than it really is. Most places saw highs around the upper 80s to lower 90s, although a few cooler spots to our north where they actually saw some showers right now sitting at 75 in Union City and Ridgely, and Paris and Camden right now at 74. But when you take in consideration the humidity with that heat, that current heat index made it feel like it was in the triple digits, as high as 106. How it felt further to our south where they've been a lot drier and haven't been dealing with any of that wet weather. So that's how hot it's been feeling for much of the day today. That rain definitely could help cool things down a little bit, but it's still overall going to be feeling a little bit humid out there. We did have a few scattered storms for along this cold front that's kind of just been stalled off right near the Kentucky-Tennessee border. And right now, a lot of that has kind of diminished, staying further to our east and to our west, where they actually had a few stronger storms. Looking right now a little bit closer, as you can see, we really aren't seeing anything right now. Whatever's left over in parts of Henry and Benton counties, it's kind of died down. And we should be quiet at least for the first part of the night before we see rain chances increase. But the severe weather risk for us was at a marginal, a lot higher further to our west, where they were at a slight risk, where we saw some of those stronger storms in eastern Arkansas. And we actually still have the chance to see some wet weather as we go into tonight. But looking at the first alert futurecast, you'll be able to see it's going to start off very quiet. By the time we start getting a little bit closer towards a little bit past midnight, we'll start to see the return of a few isolated to scattered showers. Most of this is going to expect to be sub-severe going into tomorrow, but doesn't mean we can't expect a strong storm or two embedded. But you can see it starts to get a little bit more messy as we get into the early morning hours. Another cluster of some showers and storms expected to kind of take the same path from the same one that we saw today, going from to our north. Coming from our north into our west, crossing into parts of eastern Arkansas, and eventually crossing over into West Tennessee, kind of becoming a lot more widespread. So keep that in mind. It could be a very wet commute if you are heading out the door for any plans, especially for church tomorrow morning. Keep that umbrella and rain boots at hand for sure. So as you can see in our futurecast, it's going to pretty much be widespread, continuing to really impact anywhere just as equally throughout much of the morning. There is going to be a little bit of a brief break during the afternoon hours. It's not going to be as widespread, but still a few hit or miss showers throughout much of the afternoon and evening before quieted down with a few scattered showers still in the area. But this pattern continues to stay wet really for the next couple of days, as we are expecting to be kind of just seeing rain chances almost every day into almost the end of next week. So keep that in mind. Another warm night around 70 with some of those lingering showers, but most of that's going to be late. And then going into tomorrow, widespread showers and storms are definitely likely in the forecast. This 7-day forecast is brought to you by Helping Hands of Tennessee.
Coming up, why Walmart says it wants to team up with Microsoft to buy TikTok. That news and more next.
In our Consumer Watch, Gap announced Thursday it's closing more than 225 Gap and Banana Republic store locations this year, nearly 3 times more than were previously announced. Gap, which owns the Banana Republic brand, announced in March it would close 90 stores. The drastic increase shows how much retailers are struggling during the pandemic. Gap had a brutal second quarter, which included temporary location closures prompted by the pandemic. Gap says most of the closures will be in malls. Walmart says it wants to team up with Microsoft to buy TikTok. The social media app is looking for U.S. buyers to satisfy government regulator concerns. A Chinese company owns it now. You might be wondering why a retailer like Walmart would want a stake in an app popular for its short videos. It all comes down to shopping. Social commerce has been exploding around the world, especially in China. People will watch a short video on TikTok, then buy what the poster is selling. Walmart wants to capitalize on that and reach larger audiences. Coke announces major reorganization and will offer voluntary buyouts to 4,000 workers in the U.S. and Canada. Coca-Cola announced a major global restructuring. It's offering voluntary buyouts to 4,000 workers in the U.S., including Puerto Rico and Canada. Those that accept will reduce the number of involuntary layoffs. Coke says similar buyouts are being offered to workers in other areas of the world. The severance program could amount to around $550 million. It also plans to reduce its number of operating units from 17 to 9. Coke experienced one of its worst quarters in its history in the spring amid the pandemic, with revenue dropping 28% and net income falling 32%. About half of Coke's sales are from restaurants, movie theaters, and large public gatherings such as sporting events, which have been limited or closed. A TikToker gives a big amount of cash to a homeless woman. That story next. A homeless Rhode Island woman got quite a surprise thanks to a social media influencer and her followers. 21-year-old Tara Harris took notice passing by the stranger every day for about a year. Since Tara has a large following on the social media app TikTok, she decided to use her platform for the greater good. The money came in quickly, raising $1,000 in about an hour. She gifted it to Jolivet Gonzalez, who hasn't had a home in years. Tara says she didn't want the recognition, but just wanted to help someone else in need. That is so sweet.
Such a sweet gesture for sure.
That is very, very kind. Well, Corrales, how's our weather looking?
Well, we are going to be seeing increased rain chances, especially late in the overnight hours. Starting off tomorrow morning, it could be a bit of a wet one because we are seeing more widespread showers in the forecast with a few storms possible. By tomorrow afternoon, it could keep us slightly cooler for highs, and we are going to be seeing just an overall wet weather pattern as we end out the month into the new month.
All right, thank you for joining us. We'll see you back here at 10.